Hello. Hello. My name is Johnny Jean Michael from the CEN 4020 Software Engineering class. I'm with the group Alliance Algorithms, and we have decided to do a baby log application as our project for the SRS and development. This video is a presentation on the research we did for the framework, the language, and the platform for the application. Babylog is an application meant to track the data that an infant would typically need to be tracked from the first few months of birth all the way up until perhaps a year. The application focuses on features for parents and babysitters to view, visualize, and export the data for their needs. The primary focus of the application would be to make it as simple as possible and as easy to use with the ability to reach the widest amount of people. Meaning, we would want the application to have a audience that would be able to access it at all times and input the data to their convenience. Of course, other consideration would also include performance, the knowledge of the development team, the expertise of the development team, and their comfort, and the ability to perhaps ease up our deployment process by deploying it cross-platform and onto a um, multiple array of consumption devices, as as many consumption devices as possible. The platforms that we are considering for this research, for our application, that is mobile, web, and desktop. In the mobile landscape, we would have the Android, iOS, and Windows Phone as our primary focus. The mobile is a good platform because it offers a great amount of portability and ease of use, along with the native feel that you can get from downloading an application onto the mobile phone. One of the biggest advantages is that you can have a mobile application and use it without being connected to the internet, but still connect to the internet and upload the data and send it when the internet is available. For the web-based, we have a web application that would be running primarily within a browser, and within that environment, the user would be able to do all the functions such as inputting the data and viewing the data and exporting the data. This is a good option because browser technology is constantly evolving and available, and it can even cater to mobile phones and tablets because a responsive web design can contour to the screen size that a web application would be able to uh, fit in. But the disadvantage of the web platform obviously would be the fact that in order for you to input or view the data, you would always have to be connected to the internet. This may not always be the case for our users, and therefore can be a disadvantage at times. The desktop platform covers the Windows and Mac OS platforms. It would be a desktop application that would be downloaded onto the user's desktop, and they could input and view and export. But the biggest disadvantage with the desktop is obviously the fact that one would have to download the application and it is dependent on the computer that the application resides in. The platform of choice for the application is the mobile platform because of the balance it offers between the web and the desktop. The native UI look and feel and performance of the desktop can be gotten because the native application resides within a mobile phone and therefore optimizations can be possible. However, a mobile phone does not also have to be connected to a internet in order for the application to work, because the application could just record and then send the data over later on. But the biggest thing is the portability. Let's say the infant is sleeping at a specific room or doing something. A mobile application could offer the portability that they can record it right then and there without maybe connecting to the internet or walking to a specific computer scene, therefore giving um, making it more consistent for parents to use and easier for parents to use. The languages that we were considering were C Sharp, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's the combination of that, and Java. C Sharp offers a good balance of cross-platform deployment and the familiarity of the developer team's knowledge, because it leverages the .NET framework and the using Mono and the Xamarin API. The HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is also advantageous because when one has a large array of knowledge with the web technologies, they can translate that skills to a mobile phone application that can have a native look and feel. But with as with C Sharp and HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the big advantages of here is the cross-platform deployment. Java is obviously also a consideration because the largest platform would be Android, and within the mobile application landscape, and Java would appeal to the native performance of an Android application. However, even though there are some preliminary language translators between Java and the other platforms, the the APIs that exist are not production level, so therefore we would not ideally want uh, that kind of uh, cornering in. The big advantages Java would offer is the extreme performance in Android. The platform choice that we chose, I'm sorry, the language choice that we chose was C Sharp, because the knowledge of the development team and the comfort level of the development team was very good with C Sharp. Also, it provided a native performance and a cross-platform deployment option, which was very attractive to us. The balance of that just came in perfectly for our specific application and team. And the frameworks were the .NET Framework, PhoneGap, which is by Adobe, and Android Studio. The .NET Framework would leverage the Xamarin API to provide cross-platform deployment. PhoneGap would also have cross-platform deployment using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And Android Studio would primarily be for Android with perhaps some plugins for deploying in other platforms. We chose the .NET framework primarily because, again, because C Sharp was our language of choice and the mobile application was the platform of choice, and the .NET framework was the most rational decision because of the cross-platform deployment and the development team that offered the balance. And one of the benefits of the .NET over the phone gap is that the .NET is able to perform in a more native manner and has a native look and feel to it. In conclusion, most of the decisions were actually made primarily around what the developers are comfortable with, because of the rapid prototyping that we would need to do and the rapid development that we would need to do. However, we also found that C Sharp and the .NET framework and the mobile platform were perfect because they mainly offered a balance that the other two considerations were trying to offer. With that, that was the conclusion of our research. Um, my research was primarily seeing what we're comfortable with, what our situation was, and how to best deploy this application. And um, in our specific situation, we found that these choices made the most sense. Thank you for uh, listening, and we hope to further develop this into a fully fledged SRS and leverage our decisions with proper justification. Thank you. Goodbye.